Blocker. We appreciate you taking the time to join us today. So I'll go on ahead and turn it over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So like Tina said, I used to work at the KU Alzheimer's Disease Research Center. So was really happy when I was asked to present, and I've had the wonderful opportunity since being back at ASU of continuing doing LEAP education and empowerment through community outreach programs and workshops and all kinds of really fun interactive events throughout rural Kansas. So I focus my work mainly in the Flint Hills region, which is going to be Lyon County, Wabaunsee County, Morris County, Chase County, all throughout this Flint Hills area, but really travel all over the place if needed to spread brain health education. So I would say show of hands, but there's so many people on that I don't think I could see everyone's hands, but I guess you can type into the chat function if you're familiar with the LEAP program at all. Maybe you've taken one of Rachel's workshops, or you've done something online, something like that. But let me know if you are familiar with LEAP in any fashion. But what I'm going to do today is provide a really brief overview of what LEAP is, and then kind of talk about how we're impacting individuals through this interactive education and exercise program. So just a little bit of history. I got to become involved with the LEAP program when I was doing my dissertation. So this was when LEAP was in its infancy. It had been utilized with one assisted living facility in the Kansas City metro area. And I had been living in Emporia for 10 plus years. And so we decided to test it out on rural adults, kind of broadening the age range as well. And really what we have found is that yes, individuals who are aging and potentially living in assisted living facilities, they are interested in reducing their risk factors, and they're interested in having healthy brains and not getting dementia of any sort. But by the time we're in our 70s, 80s, and above, there's only so many changes that can be made, right? And so what we are really, really finding is that the younger the individual, the younger the population that we can educate and empower with everyday strategies that they can employ in their life, the better. And so some of the things that we're doing here in the Flint Hills region involve families, involved middle-aged individuals, and really individuals of all ages. So we've kind of removed that stigma of brain health is important for just the elderly population, and are really trying to, impact individuals at all ages, so that not only can we reduce risk factors when we're in our 50s and 60s, but we can impact the health and well-being and risk factors of our children and our grandchildren, so that they have reduced risk as they get older as well. Okay, so a couple basics to start off with, and feel free to unmute briefly if you want to shout out an answer, you think you know an answer to one of these. So we know that Alzheimer's disease is the most common form of dementia, right? And you all probably know this because you've been attending these My Alliance meetings. If you have a form of dementia, chances are that it's most likely some form of Alzheimer's disease. 50 to 70% of all dementia cases are Alzheimer's disease. Lots of executive function changes, memory changes. Obviously, we kind of know some of the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. In 2020, so this is a few years ago, but statistically, does anybody know how many people in America alone were suffering from Alzheimer's disease? Any guesses how many millions of people? No guesses? 6.1 million individuals. And this is a number that when we look at the statistics for 2021 and we start to broadcast out, start to see what we think might be the trends for 2030, 2050 and beyond, it is estimated that this number is going to multiply, not just increase a little bit each year, but really, really multiply drastically. And some of that is just because our 85 plus population is the fastest growing population right now. Because of baby boomers, we have a really, really large increase in that aging population. And so that has a huge impact on the number of people that are potentially suffering from dementia. So if you are 65 years or older, you have about a 10% chance of developing Alzheimer's disease. So about 1 in 10 people at age 65 have some form of Alzheimer's disease, which, if you think about your 10 closest friends, that's a pretty significant number. 1 in 3 over the age of 85 have Alzheimer's disease. So age is really our number one risk factor. We know that our brain changes just like our body changes. And so that's something that we can't change, right? We're all getting older. Even as we sit here, our bodies are aging, our brains are aging. And so that's one thing that we cannot control, but there are several things that we can control. This one is kind of scary to me, and it always kind of blows my mind. Every 66 seconds, somebody develops Alzheimer's disease, is diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, right? So basically every single minute. And then this is one that will probably floor people if you don't already know this fact or figure already. This one just blows me away every single time. Nearly $400 billion is spent annually in the United States on indirect and direct costs for Alzheimer's disease alone. It has surpassed all of the other diseases in terms of cost, more than cancer, more than type 2 diabetes. We spend an exorbitant amount of money on Alzheimer's disease. And part of that is because it's so expensive to get memory care, to get really good quality memory care. And at some point, if you have Alzheimer's disease, you need 24/7 round the clock care, right? And that's just really, really expensive. And then hospital visits, prescription medications, all that kind of stuff really adds up. And that doesn't even take into account the emotional and the psychological burden for caregivers that are caring for individuals with Alzheimer's disease. So definitely something that we would like to change. We would like to see change. I'm not going to talk too much about some of these slides, but I'm happy to share these slides with everybody. I can get them to Tina and she can send them out in the My Alliance emails if you want them. I'm guessing that you all have probably seen a lot of basics and, this is what happens to your brain before. So if that's the case, just maybe nod yes, and I won't do a hard overview on all of these slides. Thank you. But basically, the changes that occur within our brain are happening a lot faster with somebody that has Alzheimer's disease. So our brain is going to shrink as we age, very similar to the way that our muscles shrink. But somebody who has Alzheimer's disease, it's going to shrink a lot faster, right? So this is kind of a before or upon diagnosis. And if my slide wants to progress sometime this year, this is 2 years later, right? So pretty dramatic diagnosis 2 years later. So the white is that really healthy tissue. And what we're seeing is that shrinks very, very quickly. Another region that's really important is that hippocampus. So the hippocampus, the yellow arrows on your screen are pointing to that region of the brain. This is the area that's responsible for memory storage and transfer. So when you think of somebody with Alzheimer's disease, you think of, that inability to remember short-term things. They have a conversation with somebody, they can't remember that 10 minutes later, or remembering names of people that they met really recently, but they can recall something from 40 years ago vividly, right? And so the hippocampus is really, really important in that memory storage and transfer. But like Tina said, I'm a hope spreader. I get to go out and say, hey, all this bad stuff happens, but there is hope, right? We can change this a little bit. We can have an impact on our brain health. And I think that's one of the most important things that I can really get across to people is that we have the power to make healthy choices. And whatever your reason for making healthy choices, great. But what we're finding is that people are oftentimes much more fearful of losing their independence because they have dementia than maybe having a heart attack or developing type 2 diabetes, something where there's a surgery or a medication where we can fix that problem, right? With dementia, with Alzheimer's disease, if you have it, you have it. We don't have a cure. We don't have a medicine that really fixes Alzheimer's disease. And so learning what these 6 key lifestyle behaviors are is my joy to go out and share with everybody and help them find practical strategies that they can just employ in their daily lives. And this is what Rachel also does up in the KC metro area. So we both are very passionate about helping people reduce their own risk factors through just living a little bit healthier, not a perfect lifestyle, but a little bit healthier, right? So I'm going to breeze through some of these and then give you some updates on really what we're doing. I can talk a little bit about what's going on in the Kansas City area, only because I was there a handful of years ago, and then highlight some of the things that Rachel has coming up. But I'll also talk about a lot of the online programs that we have going on through LEPA ESU that everybody can take part in. So cognitive engagement is probably a no-brainer, no pun intended, but the more that you're stimulating your brain, the better off you are. And we need more research really to understand kind of the nitty-gritty behind this, but it really makes common sense that if you are doing cognitively stimulating activities, that your brain is going to be essentially training. It's like you're doing a brain workout every single time you do these cognitively stimulating activities, right? So that's one of the lifestyle behaviors we know reduces risk for Alzheimer's disease. And there's a couple different ways that you can do this. One is through passive or receptive engagement. So this would be things like reading books, watching documentaries. You are receiving information, or you're receiving some sort of really, information is probably the best way to describe it, but you're not producing something. Active or productive engagement, you are the one that's actually learning something new, creating something, sharing something with the world. So this would be like learning a new language, mentoring somebody, learning a new skill, practicing some sort of hobby where you're crafting something, maybe quilting or woodworking. If you're interested in like fixing cars or robotic type things of any sort, that would all be productive. And that's really, really good for your brain. Even cooking can be a form of productive engagement, right? And some of the really, really wonderful kind of forward-thinking memory care clinics throughout the nation, they use these types of productive engagement with their Alzheimer's disease patients because they know that that's really beneficial for their brain. And then things like speed of processing are really helpful as well. There is an online program called Brain HQ. And as far as I know, it is the only evidence-based online brain training curriculum program where you can subscribe and you can actually work on brain training skills. And they use a lot of speed of processing type of programs, and it's really fun. They have a free version and they've got a paid version, but they do a lot of speed of processing. When we do workshops for cognitive engagement here in the Emporia area, we do the Leap memory game. And it's a speed of processing game where we're trying to find matches, but we're trying to do so as quickly as possible. We always are trying to set a new record for the memory game. So anytime where we're having to respond very quickly, make decisions on the fly, that's really, really good for our brain. Social engagement is a really important one. And this is another one where we really need more robust research in this field. But we know that people who have robust, really healthy social networks tend to have lower risk for Alzheimer's disease. And that doesn't mean that you have 5 million Facebook friends, right? Because those may just be people that happen to like what you post, right? But having 5 or 6 really, really close relationships, people that you live life with on a regular basis, that is really, really impactful. And most of the time, if you're doing social interaction, if you're interacting with these friends, you're also incorporating some of those other brain health strategies. So maybe you're part of a walking group. Well, now you're being physically active, and we know that that's beneficial for brain health. Maybe you're cooking dinner together. So now we've got nutrition involved. Maybe you're doing a quilting group or a woodworking group or something like that. So usually when we're engaging socially with people, we're also being stimulated cognitively. And usually one of those other lifestyle practices is also at play. Physical activity and exercise is probably one of the best things that you can do for your brain. The 2 lifestyle behaviors that have received the most research attention are physical activity and exercise and nutrition. And we really know, we see very, very strong connections between the levels of people's activity and their brain health, right? Doesn't mean you need to go out and run marathons. Doesn't mean you need to start lifting really, really heavy weights, but just being active on a regular basis. When people move more, their brains are healthier. And what else is healthier when you move more? Your heart, your blood pressure, all of these other risk factors. So we know that whatever you do that's good for your heart, that is good for your brain. So if your cardiovascular health improves, your brain health is improving. right? There's a direct link between those two. So that's really, really impactful. And one of the things that I do here in Lyon County is we have a LEAP exercise group, and we have been exercising together for about 5.5 years. And our group, we still have 2 people from the original group. We had one move away. We actually sadly have one gal who is suffering from stage 4 cancer right now. But we still have some of our core group, and then we just continue adding to that group. And it started out as kind of a retired women's group, and now we have people of all ages. So I have people in this exercise class ranging from low 30s to 85. And we modify every exercise so that it meets people's needs and ability levels. But not only are we providing that physical activity and exercise for individuals, we're providing all kinds of brain training, because we do a lot of brain teaser type activities in our rest periods, and we're providing that social outlet as well. And most of the time, the ladies have told me numerous times, if I didn't have this group, I wouldn't be exercising. Half of the reason I'm here is because these people that have become my friends are here, and they're holding me accountable. And that becomes very, very impactful for people. And that helps, people keep coming back. Stress. How many people would say they have a little bit of stress in their life at any given point? Stress is really detrimental on our body if it becomes chronic stress. And so we want to try to learn and teach people how to effectively and appropriately deal with different stressors in their life. And I think a lot of times we think of stress as a very bad thing. It's financial stress, and it's arguing with people, and it's all these negative influences. But even good things can be stressful, right? So going on a first date can be a stressful experience. It's a good stress, but it's still stressful. Planning a wedding, planning some sort of, a family reunion or a class reunion, going on a big vacation. All these things are really fun, wonderful things, but they can cause stress. And we have to learn how to combat that stress so it doesn't become chronic, and we don't develop really high levels of chronic cortisol within our bodies, which that then can actually lead to negative health implications. So I always tell my students here at ESU, I tell my brain health workshop individuals, stress gives you gas. It sends you into what's called the general adaptation syndrome. And so we go into fight or flight, and our body has to decide, what am I going to do? Am I going to fight this thing, or am I going to run away from it and pretend like it never happened, right? And so we try to employ to individuals healthy ways of dealing with stress, ways of maybe reframing the thinking a little bit to reduce those stress levels, and thereby improving our brain health. Sleep is another big one. And again, sleep and stress are intimately linked. Physical activity and sleep, intimately linked. If we're being more active, we tend to sleep better at night. If I don't have tons of stress in my life, or I don't perceive that I have a lot of stress in my life, I tend to sleep better at night. And sleep, specifically REM sleep, is when your hippocampus is able to transfer and store those short-term memories to long-term memories, right? So we see how all of this stuff is really, they're not independent of each other, right? They're all intimately linked together. And our sleep changes. This is one of those lifestyle practices that you can practice some better sleep hygiene. You can do things like be physically active, learn how to deal with stress, eat properly, learn some foods that help promote sleep, and avoid foods that are stimulating at night, that type of thing. But your sleep is going to change as you age, right? If we look at sleep cycles of an 18-year-old, it's beautiful. You've got all these wonderful even cycles. You can see when they go into the different stages of sleep, their REM sleep's really long. And then if you look at somebody who's 75 years old, it looks very different. There's a lot more nighttime waking, right? I feel the nighttime waking right now because I'm about 8 months pregnant. And so I'm constantly getting up in the middle of the night. And so, those things just change as we age and we go through different life cycles. And some of that we just can't avoid, but there are some things that we can do to promote healthy sleep so that our hippocampus can do its job and really store and transfer those memories, reducing our risk for Alzheimer's disease again. And then, like I said, nutrition is key. And this is Rachel's specialty, right? So if you know Rachel Sandoval, she is a registered dietitian. She has a lot of specialty training, working in the dietetics field. with all kinds of things, ranging from Alzheimer's disease to different autoimmune diseases, and then general nutrition as well. But we know that proper nutrition nourishes your brain. And eating a lot of processed foods and lots of sugars and tons of caffeine and tons of, just really unnatural foods like packaged items, that does not nourish your brain. That's not nourishing for your body or your brain, right? And so what we try to promote in LEAP is really changing the mindset. We're not trying to go on a diet. We're not trying to just lose a quick 10 pounds, anything like that. We're trying to teach ourselves to actually nourish our brains, but with the food that we eat. So we're thinking of ourselves as like some sort of Ferrari, and we have to put the correct fuel into that Ferrari so it can run properly, right? And so we promote what's called the LEAP plate, which looks like this. And we talk with people all the time about how can we make this realistic? This is not what the traditional American diet looks like right now. How can we make this a little bit more realistic? One thing that I'm focusing on a lot is the Latino population. We have a very diverse, very robust Latino population here in Emporia. And, this doesn't look like the traditional Hispanic diet. And so how can we make that more culturally relevant? And that's one thing that we're really focusing on now, is a lot of looking at different cultures and different eating patterns, and how can we make this more relevant to them? And like I said, meeting people where they're at, not saying this is exactly what you need to eat, this is the exact way you need to exercise, but trying to address how can we make it a little bit closer to this, and how can we reduce your risk factors a little bit, so that you're living your healthiest life and you're reducing your risk factors for Alzheimer's disease. Like I said, I will get this PowerPoint to everybody. So if you do have any questions or you want to reach out at any point, you'll have my contact information. But ways that we are actually going out to the community and trying to impact individuals and groups and communities. All of the things on this particular screen, this is happening in the Kansas City area. So starting July 25th, Rachel has a new 6-week workshop series where literally she will go through every one of these lifestyle behaviors. And it's all online via Zoom, so you can do it from your house, Mondays at 1 p.m. These are, I believe, free. So you can sign up, and you should get some emails through My Alliance with the information to register for these. And Rachel can unmute at some point too if she wants to add anything to that. But these are great workshops, and really, really informative, very empowering. You really learn what are the little things that I can do on a daily basis to reduce my own risk factors. There's an online LEAP fitness class now that you can take, and it's Tuesdays at 10 a.m. And that is offered through KU Med. And I believe those are $3 a session. So really, really affordable fitness in the comfort of your own home. So that would be really, really great to consider. If you're ever in the Emporia area, you could stop by and do exercise with us. I know that's a bit of a drive, but we do that as well. We just do ours in person. And then you can always get the LEAP Brain Power Blueprint. That is our textbook. That's what we operate off of when we teach our 6-week workshop series. And it's available on Amazon. So you can buy that anytime. And if you search for Jeffrey Burns LEAP or Erin Blocker LEAP or Rachel Sandoval LEAP, it'll pop up. And you can buy that right off of Amazon and have it shipped to your house. These are ways that we are operating in Emporia right now and throughout the Flint Hills region. So like I said, I have my weekly exercise class. We do that a couple days a week at 9 o'clock in the morning. And we actually operate at a local gym in town who has been just extremely supportive. They don't require memberships for our people. And it's a paid program. And we have, like I said, a really fun group of people that we exercise with all the time. I host LEAP workshops all the time for PEO groups, for church groups, for schools, for different community organizations, just all different kinds of stuff going on. So if somebody, calls and says, I just want a nutrition workshop, that's what we want to hear about, I'll go out and do one standalone workshop. I've got some really great funding from the United Way of the Flint Hills. And so that allows me to do a lot of those for free, but travel all over the state, really, doing those, but a lot in the Flint Hills. We have a LEAP at ESU Facebook page. So this is something that everybody could take advantage of. And the link is right there in the PowerPoint. So you can click on that. You can also search LEAP at ESU on Facebook. And we have, I'm going to exit out of this screen to show you the other screen if I can pull it up really fast. Maybe. We'll see if this works. Okay, are we seeing Facebook or are we still seeing a different? Let's see.
It looks like Facebook from what I can tell. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So this is our Leap at ESU Facebook page. And if you scroll through it, we have all kinds of stuff. We've got workout stuff that we did today. There's my youngest leaper right there. So I post workouts. We have blogs in Spanish and English. We have links to our own website. We've got recipes, videos of every sort. We always do weekly exercise videos, weekly nutrition prep videos in Spanish and in English. We're really trying to reach as many different populations as we can. But right now we have a blog coming out every single week on different topics. We have nutrition videos, exercise videos, extra little blurbs occasionally from me. So all kinds of resources. You can join that page. You don't have to be associated with Emporia or ESU or anything. So I have people from all over the world. Actually, I have a lot of people from South America on this page because one of my interns was from South America. So I highly recommend you join that, interact with us as much as you can. Message me, reach out with questions anytime. And then we host family workshops once a month here in Emporia as well. And so, like I said, we're really trying to reach younger and younger populations. And that's been an amazing experience where we've been able to partner with Migrant Education Program and K-State Research and Extension. And we host these really, really fun family events where we always have literacy education, so that cognitive engagement. We have exercise education, and we've got nutrition education, and we make it adaptable to a family setting. So that's been really wonderful. And we are in our, we just finished up our second year of that program, and that's been really, really wonderful and really beneficial. We've gotten a lot of good feedback from that. But I will stop talking so we can open it up for questions, because I know we have a time constraint. And I do see.
Thank you, Erin.
Chat, I think. Yes, I will put that link